The Battle of Shattered Gate left debris fields so violent that even the wreckage seemed angry. Dr. Isaac Chen's medical frigate, Mercy's Hand, limped through the carnage searching for survivors nobody else would risk retrieving. When his sensors caught a faint biosign in a shattered escape pod, Isaac didn't hesitate. He suited up and went after it. She looked like a regular soldier. Alien woman, long elegant ears, armor scorched beyond recognition, bleeding from plasma burns that should have killed her hours ago. No insignia visible, no rank markers, just another casualty in a war Isaac didn't understand and couldn't stop. He dragged her to his shuttle, started emergency treatment, while his AI flagged strange alerts in her biosignature that he promptly ignored because bleeding came first, questions later. She woke 3 hours into treatment, amber eyes snapping open with predatory focus. Her first words were in a language his translator struggled with, ancient, formal, nothing like common trade speak. When she finally switched to something comprehensible, her question was direct. Why save enemy wounded? Isaac didn't look up from cleaning her burns. Because you were dying and I'm a doctor, enemy doesn't enter into it. She went silent. Something unreadable crossed her features, surprise, maybe, or calculation. Isaac finished the sutures and wondered why someone with that much combat scar tissue was staring at him like he'd just spoken an alien language himself. Isaac set up temporary quarters in an abandoned mining station while waiting for evacuation coordinates. The battle had scrambled communications across 3 sectors. His patient, who introduced herself simply as Kaida, recovered with alarming speed. Injuries that should have taken weeks healed in days. She watched him work with unsettling intensity, asking questions about human medical ethics, about treating pain in species that weren't his own, about the Hippocratic Oath like she was studying for an exam. Isaac answered between dressing changes, not realizing he was teaching philosophy to someone who'd commanded armies for centuries. Kaida's own stories came slowly. She spoke of battles like she'd witnessed them personally, described tactical decisions from conflicts Isaac had only read about, referenced political shifts with casual familiarity. He assumed veteran soldier, maybe intelligence. She never corrected him. During a supply run, scavenger drones ambushed them. Kaida moved before Isaac could draw his weapon, disarmed him reflexively, destroyed 3 combat drones with precision that spoke to training far beyond regular military. When he asked where she learned to fight like that, her answer was cryptic. I've had extensive practice. Isaac decided not to press. Everyone had secrets, and hers seemed mostly about being way more dangerous than she looked. He could live with that, especially since she'd just saved his life with moves he'd only seen in combat sim recordings of elite special forces. Over the following days, something shifted between them. Isaac talked about becoming a medic because his father had been a colony doctor who treated anyone who needed help, regardless of species or allegiance. He spoke about exhaustion with endless wars, about hoping medicine could build bridges where politics failed. Kaida listened with reverent attention, then shared her own perspective. She'd been raised in a culture valuing strength above all, where compassion was weakness, where the strong ruled because might determined right. She described her people's empire, vast, powerful, built on military dominance, and the belief that peace came only through superior force. Isaac challenged her gently. Has all that strength actually created peace? Or just temporary silences between conflicts? The question visibly unsettled her. She stared at her hands, long-fingered, scarred, built for violence, and didn't answer immediately. One evening, while Isaac changed her bandages, she asked why he showed such care when she'd admitted serving an empire that fought human interests. His answer was honest. Because in my medical bay, you're not an empire. You're a person who's hurting and I can help. Everything else is politics, and I'm terrible at politics. Kaida smiled, genuinely, without the warrior's mask she usually wore. It transformed her entire face. Isaac realized with uncomfortable clarity that he was starting to care about her beyond the doctor-patient relationship. And that was probably the worst possible development given they'd eventually return to opposite sides of an interstellar conflict. Communications restored, and Isaac sent evacuation requests. Within hours, his sensors detected incoming vessels, not human rescue but a massive alien fleet military formations that made his stomach drop. Kaida stood at the viewport watching the warships approach, her expression hardening back into the predator he'd first glimpsed. She turned to face him. "I need to tell you who I am. Empress Kaida Seventh-Born, ruler of the Takaran Dominion, the most feared warrior in known space, commander of fleets that had conquered 40 systems in her 3-century reign, missing for 6 days, presumed dead, her absence creating political chaos across half the galaxy." Isaac felt the world tilt. The woman he'd been treating, laughing with, arguing philosophy with, architect of wars that had killed millions. But Kaida didn't move toward her arriving forces. Instead, she asked something that clearly cost her. "In your culture, is it possible for someone to choose differently than they've always been?" Her honor guard arrived expecting their empress. What they found was Kaida standing beside a human medic, telling them she needed time before returning. General Vexar, her second-in-command, argued this was unacceptable. The Empire needed its warrior leader. Enemies were circling, showing weakness invited conquest. Kaida's response stunned them. "I have ruled through strength for 300 years. It brought us territory and fear equally. Perhaps it's time to understand the strength this human showed, treating enemy wounded because it was right, not tactical." She didn't abdicate, didn't abandon her people, but she did something unprecedented, announced a period of reflection, appointed a regency council, and asked Isaac if she could learn more about human approaches to conflict resolution. The political ramifications would be enormous. Her empire would struggle with this perceived weakness. But as Kaida stood watching her fleet hold position, she looked at Isaac and said quietly, "You showed me a different kind of power. One I never knew existed. I need to understand it before I lead another war." Isaac, still processing that he'd been casually arguing with the galaxy's most powerful warrior, managed to find his voice. "I'm just a medic. I don't have answers about empire-level politics." Kaida's genuine smile returned. "No, but you have something more valuable. You see people, not assets. That perspective is worth more than all my military victories." They began an unprecedented exchange. An empress learning compassion from a medic who never wanted anything more than to heal wounds, while the galaxy watched in confusion as the Takaran Dominion's endless wars suddenly, inexplicably paused.